Well, after having some explosive testimony for the Zachary Hughes trial, I think they're going to be derailed for the next couple hours. So this was a good time to be switching to Monica. We are not very far behind. They just started a little bit ago. They started late. And usually I would complain, but I'm okay because we were getting to watch more of Zachary's. I found the spot, so we're just going to go ahead and pick it up. And then on the first break, I talked with some of you yesterday about a video that I could not believe they weren't playing in the courtroom when they were talking about the arrest. I found it. So we will go and watch that on the break. I put myself in a corner too. I almost forgot to do that.
Few on-time juries in the history of this building. And I want to thank you. I'm sorry you had to wait. This is not the only case I have. There was another case I had to do this morning. A lot of lawyers getting everybody together, and so actually it's Esther's fault. So yeah. So I'm sorry, but thank you, for your patience. Officer Davis, you're still under oath, and the defense may continue with the cross-examination.
Good morning, Officer.
Good morning.
Don't have too many more questions. I just wanted to start with the Instagram records for Monica Sementilli. You looked at those Instagram business records for Monica Sementilli's account, is that right?
Yes.
And showing you here, slide 100 of your presentation, you noted that the Instagram business records are voluminous, correct?
Yes.
There's thousands of pages of text and images, right?
Correct.
Showing all the things that she posted on Instagram, correct?
Yes.
Showing you slide 101, your PowerPoint presentation. This is an example of some of the things she's posted on her public Instagram account, correct?
That's right.
And we see here, I know it's very small, so I'm just going to try and zoom in, but they have images, and there are dates with those images, correct?
Yes.
Showing when she posted these things, right?
Yes.
So we have here some posts, May 21st, 2015, you see that?
Yes.
Top left hand corner, sir.
Yes, sir.
Another one in May 21st, 2015. Then a few the next day, you see that?
Yes.
A few in the next day on May 22nd, May 26th, May 27th. And every few days, it seems like she's posting something, correct?
That's right.
And sometimes multiple posts a day, correct?
Yes.
And there are all kinds of things we see here from this example that she's posting pictures of, correct? There's food, cars, mugs, flip-flops, correct?
Yes.
So she's frequent. So you looked at the business records. She's frequently posting content on Instagram from as far back as May 2015, right?
Yes.
So she was using and posting on Instagram long before Fabio Sementilli was killed, right?
That's right.
It's not like she suddenly started using Instagram only after he was killed and posting things, correct?
That's right.
Now, this is from your timeline. I'm not going to ask you about all the timeline. I'm just going to ask you about the web history searches from her LG tablet, okay?
Yes.
You looked at the LG tablet and all the web search history from it, correct?
Yes.
And you found that on June 7th, there were some particular searches, correct?
Yes.
And one of them is this Quora search. We see here, it's a question that's posed on Quora. How do you know if your cell phone is being tapped by police? You see that?
Yes, I do.
I just want to clarify my understanding, for correct me if I'm wrong, but this website, you can look at questions that people have posed, other people, and see what the answers are. Is that right?
Yes, it's like a forum website.
So here, it's not that Monica Sementilli has typed that in, but she is looking at that question that someone else has posed. Is that fair to say?
Yes, to put it another way, she surfed to that particular website.
Right. But that writing at the top, how do you know if your cell phone is being tapped by the police? That's not, she hasn't written in that question, correct?
Correct.
Now, you also noted some other web searches. Sorry, 2 seconds. This is from the internal record of the LG tablet, correct?
Yes.
And all the web searches that you saw in relation to these subjects, they were all on June 7th, 2017, right?
I'd have to see the full list, but certainly the ones in the screenshot here, June 7th, 2017.
And I believe on all these others that you highlight, or at the top it has June 7th, correct?
Yes.
It's all the ones that are being presented, they're all from June 7th, right?
Correct.
You're able to see the full web history of the LG tablet, aren't you?
Yes.
And you reviewed that full web history, correct?
I didn't look at everything in the voluminous records,
But you looked
line by line.
Sorry, shouldn't interrupt you. Please.
It's okay. Yeah, I went to a specific time period at June 7th.
But you did look through the records to see what was relevant to the case, right?
Yes, what was pertinent to
Right, and this was the only thing you found that was personal.
these searches, yes.
And so we know that Monica Sementilli, we know Fabio Sementilli was killed January 23rd, 2017. And this is obviously in June 7th, 2017. So you didn't find anything personal from the LG web history in that 5.5 month period. Only this from June 7th, correct?
That's right.
And I know you were being very precise earlier in your testimony. What this is showing is web searches that have been made on this LG tablet, correct?
And or navigation to specific websites.
But you don't know for sure from this data information exactly who was using the LG tablet at this time. It's just that the LG tablet was being used for these web searches.
Yes, that's why I'm always very specific talking about devices and accounts and so forth.
Right. It would depend on who's using the device at that time, correct?
Correct.
And these are obviously web searches relating to spying, and police spying on cell phones and tapping phones. Is that right?
More or less.
It's true though, isn't it, that detectives in this case were secretly recording Monica Sementilli's phone calls, weren't they?
Secretly recording her phone calls.
Why would that is some facts and evidence.
We've
False
heard.
speculation. It's overruled.
The last thing I want to talk about is just lifestyle lounge. Obviously, it is.
Sure.
Let's skip ahead to this. This is slide 136. This is Monica Sementilli's iPhone web history, is that right?
Yes.
And it shows, as you said earlier in your testimony, that there are many, many entries in relation to lifestyle lounge, correct?
That's correct.
And that goes from July 2nd, 2016, all the way through to June 13th, 2017.
Yes.
And you spoke briefly about Lifestyle Lounge, but it's essentially a website where people can meet swingers. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Reach out to, I should say.
Yes, a swinging website, sometimes informally referred to as a hookup website. Yes.
Meet new people, potentially hook up with them.
Correct.
And showing you People's Exhibit 162, page 2. Using this website, you can browse various people's profiles, correct?
Similar to dating applications. Users establish a profile, essentially advertise themselves to other like-minded users. They find some sort of common attraction and then connect.
And this is an example of some of these user profiles you would see and then you could reach out to, correct?
Yes, I don't know if these are real people. This is an example from the website itself.
And you also talked about how the website has a chat function, correct?
Yes,
Lets you chat with these people, correct?
right.
Now, we've obviously seen evidence you presented that Monica Sementilli and Robert Baker were communicating over Viber. We saw that, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
There is no evidence that Robert Baker and Monica Sementilli were communicating via Lifestyle Lounge, is there?
Not with the data that I have.
Just one moment. Thank you, no further questions.
Redirect.
Yes.
I agree. There is a very good chance of a mistrial. That was 3 times Zachary did that. Obviously, he knew he wasn't supposed to, and he really wanted all that information to come out, but you can't do that. So I will not be surprised.
Davis. The question that defense counsel asked you about not being sure who the user was on the defendant's LG tablet at the time the June 7th searches were done to a website relating to cell phone spying by law enforcement is the point, I assume, of, as you mentioned yesterday, of this slide number 90 in your PowerPoint, correct?
That's exactly right.
Okay. So this slide here and the video that follows in slide 91 shows us, as you were testifying to yesterday, that the defendant is in control, the one who has possession of and is manipulating her iPhone during the time that she's at Target.
Yes, that's what I call attribution.
Okay.
Attribution of devices and accounts to a specific user. As an investigator, I look for things like selfies. Is somebody holding the phone? Do they have control of it? In this case, we have video that shows Mrs. Sementilli is manipulating the device in hand.
Okay. So that was the purpose, as you mentioned yesterday, and you've now explained today a little more fully, of this particular slide in the video thereafter, to show that she has possession of the device during the time that we know, approximately 30 minutes prior, that she's connecting to her home surveillance system through the home's IP address.
Yes.
Okay. Because we know, again, 30 minutes later, she still is at Target with that phone in hand, as we can see in the screenshot here in slide 90 and the video in 91.
Correct.
All right. Also, with respect to the searches to the website, when defense counsel asked, well, it's a website, she isn't typing in these searches. She is initially searching for the subject of cell phones and cell phone spying by law enforcement in order to navigate herself to a website that has articles on it, as the ones you showed us in your PowerPoint, correct?
That's right. That's why I describe it as surfing activity, surfing the web.
Okay. So it's not like these searches automatically came up on her device without some manipulation, handling of the device, just like handling your phone here and connecting to an application that allows you to watch your cameras.
A user has to navigate to the website.
You were asked several questions yesterday about Viber. When you were able to look at the defendant's cell phone extraction as well as Baker's cell phone extractions, were you able to find the Viber application on either of their phones?
No, I wasn't.
Okay. Does that mean that the application was deleted at some point prior to their arrest on June 14th, where you were present, where their cell phones in the vehicle were seized?
Yes.
Pursuant to warrant? And as we talked about yesterday, when you delete an application, it may also then, if you're using the application to communicate, once you delete it, you may also be deleting all of the associated data, or at least the messages that were made through that application, because it no longer exists on the phone.
That's right.
And you also mentioned you were asked questions about the WhatsApp application on the phones. That was an application that was found both on the defendant's cell phone that she has in her hand there, number 119, as well as Baker's Samsung I think it was the 4, correct?
S8.
S8, okay. So it's item 121, correct, at the time?
I don't know about the item number, but it's the S8.
S8. But again, the associated data, as you look at it through Celebrate, shows that that data is encrypted so that it prevents you from reading, let's say, the bulk of the messages.
Yes.
You also were asked yesterday about the communications between the defendant and Robert Baker on January 23rd, and we looked at the timeline that was created that we saw in Exhibit 160. Which is, as I mentioned yesterday, 4 pages in length. and shows that there are messages, according to California time, local time, converted from UTC, beginning at 6:50 in the morning, based on the Viber CDRs, not the cell phone extraction, because the Viber app had been deleted and therefore it deletes the communications, but from the Viber business records themselves that we discussed yesterday, that the defendant sends a text message to Robert Baker at 6:50 in the morning on the date that her husband is murdered, correct?
That's right.
And then communications between them continue throughout the entire day. Looking at page 2, which starts at the top of 11:41 and 50 seconds a.m. Second page ends at 2:45 and 56 seconds. Baker texting to Monica. Page 3 at the top at 2:46 and 40 seconds. The defendant texts to Baker, and then the last text from the defendant to Baker at 3:36, according to the Viber records, correct?
Yes.
And then, at some point, shortly thereafter, as you testified to yesterday, at 3:53 and 57 seconds, she activates the application that connects her to her home surveillance cameras.
Yes.
And then that was based on the cell phone extraction, corroborated by her cell phone records, called detail records, correct?
Yes.
Which you said the cell phone extraction keeps records according to a certain time frame. Then the cell phone records, the provider, in this case AT&T, keeps records as well, correct?
Yes.
And at 4 o'clock, her cell phone records, we see that she is connecting to her home IP address, as you explained yesterday. That would be necessary in order to view your live feed from your cameras, correct?
Yes.
And that connection actually continues if we look at the last page. Of People's 160 until 5:15 in the afternoon. That's the last connection to her home IP address. Yes?
Per the AT&T records, yes.
Yes. So you don't know at what point she actually closed the IDMS Lite application on her phone, correct?
That's right.
All you can say, based on the various sets of records, is we know that she accessed it at a particular time, as we talked about, just before 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and that the last connection to that IP address was at 5:15 in the afternoon.
Yes. So if I may elaborate briefly.
Please.
It's a step-by-step process that starts with the instructions that were in that first digital email, instructing the user, the customer, on how to log in to the CCTV system that was set up at the Sementilli residence. That IP address continued to exist all the way to the end of January 2017. There was prior usage of the IDMSS Lite app a handful of times.
The last one being, I believe, in November of 2016, 2 months prior.
2 months prior, yes. But now we look at January 23rd, 2017.
The day of the murder.
The day of the murder. Per the instructions from the email, we have an artifact on Mrs. Sementilli's iPhone 7 that shows an IDMSS Lite app was opened 3:53 in the afternoon. This is followed in short succession by the AT&T data, the internet history that corroborates the opening of that app and shows connection with high bandwidth, particularly towards the 4 o'clock hour. All the way, connections all the way through, logged in the AT&T records until 5:15 p.m.
And on top of that, we know that the phone is in her hand at 4:30 as she's leaving the target.
Correct.
So there's no question here as to who is manipulating or navigating or controlling the cell phone during the 4 o'clock hour.
That's right.
Also yesterday, defense counsel put in front of you, I believe it was marked as defense exhibit 614, AT&T records for the balance of the day of January 23rd. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Those are the same records that I showed you on direct that were marked as People's 156. And let me show you the front page. Here, the AT&T internet history, correct?
Yes.
And the pages that defense counsel, it says it right up here at the top, internet history and it has the serial number and the IMSI number for the defendant's phone. If we go to the pages that talk about or that refer to Tuesday, January 24, again, once you convert those to UTC time, that includes January 23rd.
Yes.
Correct? So what was shown to you by the defense, you yourself had already reviewed and are contained within the records I showed you on direct that were marked as People's 156.
Yes.
The hard copy, Your Honor, for the record, I believe, of those records, well, I think we just included them on the CD, which is 156. Showing you 159, which was the timeline I showed you yesterday for January 22nd. And includes multiple pages. I think it's 4 pages. Again, that also shows the level of communications. I remember yesterday we were looking at your chart and you were asked about the peaks and the troughs. The level of communications on the day prior is also, prior to the murder, is contained in People's Exhibit 157 that we looked at yesterday, correct?
Yes.
And that date, there were approximately 180 messages between the two individuals, the defendant and Mr. Baker, correct?
That's right.
And in the timeline for January 23rd, that is marked as People's 160, there were approximately 115 communications, correct?
Yes.
And as was pointed out yesterday, there was a gap of messages in the Viber records for approximately an hour and 10 minutes between 3:36 until 4:45, correct?
Yes.
And 4:45 would be, I assume that you are familiar, would be during the period of time when Robert Baker and Mr. Austin would be at the Sementilli home.
That is correct.
Also, with respect to Defendant Baker, you included Robert Baker, you included information relating to Baker and the defendant in your various timelines with respect to surveillance units. Did you ever recover on June 14th a flip phone belonging to Baker?
No, I don't recall that.
Nor the S6, as you talked about, which was, you showed us, was registered to Baker at a period of time in your PowerPoint.
That's right.
So therefore, you would have no way of knowing what applications existed on either of those phones belonging to Baker at any given time.
Unfortunately, no.
You were also asked about the Instagram business records. Sorry, my computer went to sleep. And in your timelines, you included, in order to be able to show the dichotomy, the public posts versus the photographs that you recovered from the defendant's iCloud, her Apple iCloud records. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
Okay. In any of these public Instagram posts, did you find anywhere where the defendant posted about her trip in March to Las Vegas with Robert Baker?
No, I didn't.
Anywhere in those public Instagram posts, did you find any posts by the defendant regarding her trip in May to Las Vegas with Robert Baker?
No.
Anywhere in the public Instagram account, did you see any posts to the public regarding her trip to Myrtle Beach at the end of May with Robert Baker?
No.
I have nothing further.
Any recross?
We want to just on two issues, if I may. You talked about Officer Davis messages from the morning of January 23rd all throughout the day, correct?
Yes.
On Viber. And there's also messages on January 22nd. As you've already shown, this graph shows that there are messages every day in January between March.
Yes.
And there are actually more messages on nearly every other day other than January 22nd and 23rd.
Objection
Correct?
cumulative.
I'll allow this.
Yes.
On the IDMSS issue, the act of viewing the home surveillance cameras, there's a connection that you said continues from approximately 4 p.m. continues until 5:15 p.m., correct? That's what you've put to you.
Ongoing log entries of that IP address, yes.
Right. There can be a connection, but not necessarily video being streamed, correct?
I don't know.
Well, to stream video, you have to download data, don't you?
I can only speak to what the data is in front of me.
But to stream video, the device has to download data from the home IP address.
There would have to be incoming data to stream it, yes.
So there has to be incoming data downloaded to stream video.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So the app can be connected, but it can be running in the background, right?
Absolutely.
It doesn't have to be that. Well, let me just, the app can be connected, but it's running in the background. So let's actually look at some of these entries where there are connections to the home IP address going up to 5:15, right? And this is the same exhibit we referred to. I believe, I'm sorry, it's 613. This is the full log, the AT&T records showing data downloads, connections with Monica's phone.
Council, I believe for the record that's 614.
Thank you so much. The 614. Correct myself. Now, you said there's a connection with high bandwidth, particularly towards 4 p.m., right?
Yes.
But there's actually a connection with high bandwidth only at 4 p.m.
Your Honor, I'm going to object cumulative.
Well, I need to address the point that there's a connection beyond and up to 5:15. So I'm going to show you those connections.
Same objection.
I'll allow this to go to 5:15. But again,
Right. We've already looked at the connections at 4 p.m., 4:05, and 4:25. I'm not going to go over those again. Right. But it is true that there are connections a bit later. Right? And this is showing the connection at 4:25. There's no data downloaded. It's 0. Right? This is the last one we talked about. There's no data downloaded. Video cannot be streamed, can it?
Same objection, Your Honor.
Let's look at the next one then. There's a connection here at 4:30, connecting to the home IP address. 0 bytes downloaded. If there are 0 bytes downloaded, this is at 4:30, this is beyond the times we looked at.
Same objection, Your Honor.
If there are 0 bytes downloaded, video cannot be being streamed, can it?
I would say with 0, there's no video coming in. No.
Right. There's also connection at 4:55. Again, 0 bytes downloaded at 4:55. Video cannot be being streamed with the home security cameras, correct?
And that would also be after the DVR box was removed as well.
Right, so we know the DVR box was removed when the killers, Robert Baker and Chris Austin, left the house, correct?
Yes.
And that was at 4:53 p.m., correct?
Yes.
Because we see the Porsche driving away at 4:53 p.m., correct?
Right.
You need the DVR to view the home surveillance cameras, don't you?
Yes. Without it, you would have no endpoint, essentially, to stream data from.
So the DVR, sorry, continue.
I was going to say the phone could still attempt to make a connection, and that may be why we see additional log entries here beyond that point in time. But there's nothing to receive information from.
So the DVR has been ripped out, impossible to be viewing the home security cameras.
Right.
So these entries, 4:55, and the entry at 5:15, no possible way that home surveillance cameras are being used then, are they?
Nope.
So even though the connection continues until 5:15, absolutely not evidence that any home security camera footage is being reviewed.
Right.
No further questions.
Anything further, other people?
No, thank you.
Thank you, Officer Davis. You're excused.
Thank you, Your Honor.
People may call the next witness.
People call Deputy Miguel Valderrama.
You can please face me and raise your right hand. Do you solemnly state the testimony you may give in the cause now pending before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Please have a seat and witness stand. And for the record, say and spell your first and last name, please.
Miguel Balderrama, Miguel, B as in boy, ALDERRAMA.
Thank you. Sir, can you tell us how it is that you're employed, please?
I'm a detective with LA County Sheriff's, currently at Major Crimes Metro Detail.
Okay. And how many years have you been so employed?
A little over 26 years.
Where were you assigned back in October of 2018?
I was working overtime in this courtroom as bailiff of record.
What were your duties as the bailiff of record in October of 2018?
I was handling all court proceedings for Department 101 and then security of the inmates for that calendar day.
I want to direct your attention to the dates of October 2nd and October 3rd of 2018. Let's start with the October 2nd date. You were assigned to this courtroom.
Yes.
Okay. And do you recognize defendant Monica Sementilli seated over here?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And can you identify her for the record?
She's sitting at the table with a beige suit.
Also showing you what's been previously marked as People's 14. Do you recognize this individual?
That's the individual that was a co-defendant on this case.
Robert Baker?
Yes.
Okay. And on the day of October 2nd of 2018, were you responsible for bringing the defendant and Robert Baker into this courtroom for court appearances?
Yes.
And subsequent to the court appearance, were you also responsible for returning them to the courthouse lockup?
Yes.
And that would be part of the normal job of a bailiff performing security functions for the courtroom
Yes.
with individuals that are in custody?
Yes.
Okay. And did you follow certain protocol in order to keep the defendant and her co-defendant at that time, Robert Baker, separated.
Yes.
How do you do that?
Well, first they were both classified as K-10 at the time.
What's that mean?
So they were dressed down in orange jumpsuits, and they're both waist chains and leg chains.
What does that mean in terms of how they're kept?
A high security prisoner. So they're kept separately, no communication within them too. And then, of course, when you come into the courtroom, you have to separate their chairs as much as possible.
And was there also a sergeant supervisor who was assisting you in this courtroom that day?
Yes.
Who was that?
That was Sergeant Bob Westfall.
Okay. And was he also in the courtroom with you on October 2nd?
He was assisting me.
Okay. Did he also go into the lockup with you at some point on October 2nd and October 3rd?
Somewhat. I opened the door, and he was at the threshold between the 101 courtroom and then the 101 lockup. So he was between the open door.
Okay. And once the court appearance was done in this courtroom, what did you do with respect to the defendant and Robert Baker?
So it was a quick matter, calendar matter that day. I initially escorted Robert Baker first to the door, and then my sergeant caught him at the threshold, and he immediately ordered him up to the stairs. It's just a second floor landing. So the lockup facility is on the 10th floor. We're actually on the 9th floor, so there is a landing that Robert Baker was sent to.
Okay.
As soon as he was staged at the second floor landing, I came back in and then escorted Sementilli into the courtroom lockup.
Okay. So at this point, Baker is supposed to be at the top of the staircase leading to the 10th floor lockup.
Yes, but he was lingering on the second floor landing. He wasn't listening to my instructions because I ordered him all the way to the door.
Were you directing him, commanding him to proceed up to the top of the stairs?
Yes.
And what did he do at that point?
He was lingering around the stairwell on the second floor landing.
Okay. So he did not obey your instructions?
No, and also Sergeant Westfall was also ordering him, and he was still lingering around until I entered the courtroom with Sementilli.
With Defendant Sementilli?
Yes.
Okay. And once you took Defendant Sementilli into the lockup, what happened at that point?
So then I took lead in front of Sementilli, and then I ordered Baker to the end of the doorway on the 10th floor. Okay. And at that time, then he followed my instructions and went to the end of the door. And then I stood in the second floor landing. Then I ordered Sementilli to come up the stairs. So at the same time, I could keep an eye on Baker, and I could keep an eye on Monica as she's coming up the stairs.
Defendant Sementilli?
Sementilli.
Okay. And then did you take any particular position between the two as you came up the stairs?
Yes, I was in between them both, so I could keep an observation on both Baker and Sementilli.
At the same time?
Yes.
Okay. And at some point, did you also order the Defendant Sementilli, to do something?
I had her come up to the stairs
Towards you?
Towards me. When Baker was up by the door facing the wall, then I ordered Sementilli to come up the stairs to the second floor landing, and then I went up to Baker so I could open the door.
Okay.
Still keeping an eye on both inmates.
Okay. During this time, was there any communications between between the defendant and Robert Baker?
Yes, there were. Baker was talking to Sementilli. Hey, we got this, Mercedes, we got this. I wasn't really paying attention to that because I was looking for hands and basically trying to get them escorted to their lockup.
What did he call her?
Mercedes.
Okay. In your report, did you indicate it might have been Madonna?
It could have been.
Is that what you wrote in your report?
I got to look at my report to refresh my memory. It's been a couple years.
I'm going to hand you a set of reports. You can review them. Let me know.
Mary's refresh.
Okay.
On page 4, I indicated it was Mercedes. We got this, and I put in quotes.
Okay. Did you indicate previously, though, you thought it could have been also Madonna?
Objection, leaving.
I'll allow it.
Possibly.
Okay. So Baker was saying to the defendant, we got this.
Yes.
Okay. And at this point, were you still maintaining the distance between the defendant and her co-defendant at that time, Robert Baker?
Yes.
And what did you do?
I told him to stop talking, and then I went up to the door to open it, because Baker was actually, he was in cell number 8, which is the actual door, the lockup facility. Right as soon as you open the door to the 10th floor, his cell was right immediately to the right. And then Sementilli was all the way down the end to cell, I think it was locker number 2.
Okay. And is there a recording of this incident?
Video recording?
Yes. That you've reviewed?
Yes, but that wasn't discovered till the next day, on
Yes.
the 3rd.
But there is a recording regarding, we're talking about October 2nd still, yes?
Yes.
Your Honor, I have a set of 3 video recordings. May they be marked collectively on a CD as People's 163?
Yes.
Thank you. And they will include October 2nd and October 3rd of 2018. Let me show you the first one.
The Zachary Hughes trial has not come back from break yet.
If you're looking at the camera bubble, if you have the bottom is actually 102, looking toward 101, which is this court. My
The
sergeant.
door open is 101?
The door opening is 101. Sergeant Westfall is immediately the threshold, and he ordered Baker up to the end of the hallway.
And that's another bailiff that
The
just came out of
bailiff came out of
102.
102.
So we just saw Baker go up the stairs in
Go up
orange.
the stairs. Yes.
You're still in the courtroom at this point. There you
I'm
are.
walking in right now. So Baker is up on the second floor landing up the stairs. I separate myself between both co-defendants.
And that's the defendant coming up the stairs behind you?
Yes, it is.
Now, the following day, October 3rd, were you again working as a bailiff here in this courtroom?
Yes, I again was working overtime that morning in this courtroom.
Okay. And according to your typical protocol, the next day around 7:40 in the morning, what did you do?
So normally I come in, the courtroom's empty. I do a security check, basically go through every section of the courtroom, jury box, the audience, and basically check to see if any bags or anything was left over. Then I make my way into the lockup. I check the cell before any inmates get there, because in the morning we do the calendar, and then we get the inmates for the either Department 101 or 102. So after that was cleared, I walked up the stairs and I checked all the railings, and that's when I noticed on the railing on the second floor landing going up to the 10th floor lockup, there was a baggie rolled up, and we call it a kite.
What's a kite?
Kite is a way inmates communicate between themselves. So it could have been either narcotics, or it was all rolled up really tight. So I saw it on the inside portion of the railing, on the bottom portion of the rail as it going up.
Going up the stairs?
So I immediately called my sergeant, which was Bob Westfall, and I told him, if you don't mind checking the video cameras for the day prior to see if anything was placed at the time when Baker was going up the stairs. And that's when he discovered he actually not placed one, he actually placed 2 items.
Okay.
So that's when he came into the courtroom. We found the other one.
Okay. So I'm going to show you the second video, also dated October 2nd, that's contained on the CD Exhibit 163. Okay, can you tell us what we're seeing here
So
in the video from October 2nd?
So the bottom of the screen is actually the 10th floor lockup door. We're looking towards the stairwell as you're going up the 101. And the railing that's concerned is the one to the left, on the top of the portion. There's Baker, and he places something on the bottom of the rail, the inside portion of the rail.
With his right hand?
With his right hand. He's looking back.
This is where you said he was lingering and you were directing him to continue up the top of the stairs?
Yes, and that's, he goes to the top of the railing, inside portion, he places a second item.
Which you couldn't see from your vantage point at the
No,
bottom.
that's why I sent him all the way to the door, because there's nothing to put on the wall. It'll be obvious.
That's you coming up?
That's me coming up. That's when he's talking back to Sementilli.
And that's Baker speaking back to her?
Yes.
Okay.
So I ordered her to come up to the stairs and go to the right side of the wall, as I was keeping an eye. Because the door is immediately, as you walk inside, his cell number 8, so I immediately placed them. I can still see her.
Okay. So you went back on October 3rd to watch this video once you noted the first item at the bottom of the stairs.
Yes.
Which then gave you information regarding the second one at the top of the stairs.
Yes.
I'm going to show you a third video. This one from October 3rd.
That's my sergeant, Bob Westfall. And he pointed to the upper portion of the railroad we discovered the second item. I was taking photographs of the item.
All right. Your Honor, I have an evidence envelope. It has the name Gable on the front and number 191 and 192 written in red pen. May it and its contents be marked, please, as People's 164.
Yes.
Detective, I'm going to
Your
read.
Honor, the defense is going to object as to People's 164 on grounds that the contents are hearsay.
Overruled.
Showing you this LAPD evidence envelope that appears to have other envelopes inside. Can you open the envelope, remove the contents, and tell us what you find inside?
Well, I could tell you these are the items I booked under the LA Sheriff's file number. So they were probably rebooked under the LAPD since it's an LAPD case.
Okay.
I know that for a fact because I identified my writing.
Okay.
I put the earn number, I put EV2, I actually did the sticker, and my name's on the sticker as evidence.
And there are two envelopes that are rolled up inside of the LAPD envelope, correct?
There's two, evidence 1 and evidence 2, and it's also correlates to my report that I actually authored.
Okay. And you mentioned a URN or an ERN number. Is that the way the Sheriff's Department tracks cases?
Yes.
Okay. So when you write a report on a matter, you would write up the report with a unique case number that would also be related to any evidence recovered on that case?
Yes.
Okay. And so anything that you would recover, such as a kite, that would generate a report as well as evidence item numbers.
Objection leading.
Overruled.
Yes.
Okay. And in this case, you had two separate items that you booked, correct?
Yes.
And that's why you have two separate envelopes. You labeled one as evidence 1 and the other as evidence 2?
Yes.
And did those correlate to the numbers in your report under that unique sheriff's case number or URN number?
Yes.
Okay. If you could open up the envelope with respect to evidence 1 and tell us what you find inside.
I have a plastic bag with a red envelope.
And it's in some kind of plastic wrap?
It's a plastic wrap.
Was that the same plastic wrap that was covering evidence 1 when you found it at the bottom of the stairs?
Yes.
Okay. And what do you have there that you've removed from the plastic wrap?
So it was the red envelope I found inside the plastic bag that was tightly rolled up. It was partially torn, so it does say Angeles County Sheriff's Department. has the annex number. It has, in parentheses, 501-6191, which I'm assuming it's a booking number. And then it has written in pencil 3300 and 18U, which is the module at Men's Central Jail, and then that's the 18U is the bed, the bunk, where this person is assigned to.
Okay.
There is paperwork inside, and this is the exact paperwork I found, and it was like...
You said there was a number on the exterior that you thought was consistent with a booking number. What was that number?
It's 501-6191.
If I show you your paperwork again, did you include that number actually on the front of your report?
Yes, and I associated that with inmate Sementilli.
So that was the defendant Sementilli.
Sementilli, yes.
That would be her booking number.
That is her booking number.
Whereas the module with the unit number, that correlates with the booking location or where Baker was being held, correct? At Men's Central Jail?
That's correct. In the face page, I put Men's Central Jail in module 3300.
Okay. So is there something inside of that red envelope?
It was 2 pieces of paper. It was like puzzle paperwork. On the back side, it had numerical numbers just written on the paper, positive, negative. And same thing with the other one. It was another puzzle paperwork. And then the back side, it had some numerical numbers, positive, negative.
Showing you the first page from evidence 1. Was this the item number that you recovered from the railing at the bottom area that we saw on the video?
Yes, that's one sheet of paper.
Did that appear to you to be some type of coded communication? Bless you.
Objection, condemnation.
Overruled.
Yes.
Do you commonly come in contact with items such as this when you're working in the jail facility?
Yes, and I also work gangs. I was an OSS detective, and that's how normally Mexican Mafia and different inmates communicate on different messages.
Showing you the second page, again, does that appear to be some type of coded communication?
That's what it appears like.
You could return these to that red envelope and then to the evidence 1 envelope that you booked it under. And you're placing the plastic wrap over it as well. Appears to be some type of a plastic baggie.
It resembles a booking bag that normally people get in the jail facility.
Okay. Let's look at evidence number 2. Is this the envelope into which you booked a similar kite that you recovered that we saw on video number 3 from the top of the railing just outside of the 10th floor lockup?
Yes, I have my, I printed the report number, which is the the uniform report number. I have my name. I booked this piece of evidence, and I also put a little narrative paper containing numerical cipher message recovered from the top railing leading to the 10th floor lockup. In this,
Numerical what message?
I put
Cipher.
numerical cipher message, basically.
Encoded.
Encoded message.
Okay. You could open this envelope and again describe to us what's inside the envelope.
And this one was a smaller plastic baggie, and it was tightly rolled up, and it was containing one sheet of paper. Both sides were actually same type of numerical cipher, which is positive and negative numbers on both sides.
Thank you. front side, one side. Again, does this appear to be similar to the other evidence item that we looked at, which is some type of numerical code?
Yes.
And on the back side, again, same?
Yes.
Okay, I'm handing this back to you. If you could again place this coated kite into the plastic and the envelope that you booked it to. And then if you could place both of those sheriff's evidence envelopes back into the LAPD booked envelope. Have you done that?
Do so, no, ma'am.
Thank you. I have nothing further.
Let's take our morning recess for 15 minutes. The admission applies. See you back here in 15 minutes.
All right, since we were only a few minutes late starting, I'm going to go ahead and catch us up, which means the break is going to be almost over if they're on time. I'm going to wait to play the video that I was talking about yesterday. I said I found it. I was going to play it on one of the breaks, but not this one. We won't have enough time, I don't think. And on that note, I am going to go get more coffee. Keep fueling up. Just so you know, the rose petal trial has not come back at all. So it'll be interesting to see if they're able to recover or if it's just going to be a mistrial. But when everybody started yelling and they immediately got the jury out, that's where it's been sitting at. So I'm sure the attorneys and the judge, I'm sure it's just total chaos. But I have it still live over on my other computer, so I'll keep you updated if I see anything. All right, I'll be right back. Well, both of our trials that we've been watching are both on break. Maybe I will try to go ahead and play the part of the video that I found that I wanted to play yesterday. And if I hear this come back on, they come back, I'll just switch back over. Okay. So, let me get this moved. It's not right. So yesterday, they had an officer take the stand that was the officer who arrested both of them at the same time. They talked about how they were in the Mustang. There were 2 knives in the Mustang. Robert was the one driving. And her whole thing is that she had no idea that Robert was going to do anything. This wasn't her idea. She didn't even know about it. How could the police not tell her? And she just continued on her relationship with him. Because she would have been horrified. And, just really putting all the blame over there. But I was asked yesterday in the live chat and somebody said, do you think that she's guilty? Do you think the jury's buying that? And I was like, yes, she is extremely guilty, to me at least. And there's a lot of things that she says that just wouldn't make sense if that was true. Like her saying that she didn't know that Robert would do something like that. She had no idea. And that when she found out, she's just disgusted with him. Well, when they both were arrested, they both knew the reason why at that point, and yet they carried on a relationship in jail for at least another year. We don't know right now if that went on longer, but at least there's receipts for a year. So clearly, she didn't care that much that he killed Fabio, because she found out and she kept going. But when they were arrested, I think it's just the audio. This is what they were doing in the back seat of the police car. This is what they were talking about. And I mean, she is just so shady.
Various audio clips, and again you'll see that the defendants make mention of the fact that they're being recorded, so they make certain statements again in order to create certain false perceptions of their innocence. And you will see, when you see the clips, hear the clips, as well as during trial when you hear the longer portions, that the defendant and Baker are living in their own version of reality where they believe they're somehow going to get off and live together and talk about themselves as being the victims.
Record Peter Sementilli, defendants present, all counsel present, jury, and also present. So we're trained to do everybody else's job here. So Brooke brought the jury in. I can actually use her machine. And Esther sets a time clock for the break. And I said, I'll see you in 15 minutes. She actually pushes in 15 minutes on her cell phone. And, of course, she left to do an errand and took her cell phone. I don't think that was an accident.
It just went off.
Detective Balderrama is still under oath, and the defense may cross.
Good morning, Deputy Valderrama.
Good morning.
Bringing you back to October 2nd, 2018, you testified that after the court hearing, you first escorted Robert Baker out of the courtroom.
Yes.
Okay, and then you testified that Robert Baker went up to the second floor landing.
Yes.
And was it, and at that point you noticed that Robert Baker was lingering on the second floor. He hadn't gone all the way to the door.
I wasn't by the door. I was getting communication from my sergeant because my sergeant Westfall was telling Baker to go to the end of the door like I instructed him to do.
Okay. And you testified that Robert Baker was ignoring those instructions.
Yes.
And disobeying both yours and Sergeant Westfall's orders.
Yes.
When you brought Monica Sementilli from the courtroom into the lockup, Monica did everything that you obeyed all of your instructions.
Yes.
Okay. And you also testified that on the second floor landing, you heard Robert Baker make a statement to Monica.
Yes.
And at no time did you ever hear Monica Sementilli make any statement to Robert Baker.
I don't believe so.
If you had heard Monica Sementilli make a statement, would you have put that in your report?
Yes.
And I believe earlier in your testimony you did take a look at your report, and there's no mention of any statement by Monica Sementilli, is there?
No.
Based on your observation and investigation, you determined that Monica Sementilli never received those two evidence items that were presented in court today. Is that right?
No, because I prevented her from getting away from the rail on the right side.
Well, we watched several videos. So is it your testimony that if you had placed, well, strike that. Let me ask you this. You determined that at no point, based on your investigation of these evidence items, Monica Sementilli never actually received either of those. Just yes or no?
It's overruled.
No, as I was escorting Baker up by the threshold of the door in the 10th floor lockup, I had eyes on Sementilli, and I told her to come to the front of the door and wait by the facing the wall. So at no time did I lose sight of her, and she never went to the railway to pick any messages up.
That's right. She never went to the railway to pick any messages
She was
up.
close, but I had her escort come to the threshold of the 10th floor lockup. So she
Okay.
never had a chance.
Okay, but at no point did she ever disobey your instruction and go over to the right side,
No.
correct? And based on your observations on October 2nd, at no point in time did you hear Monica Sementilli make any statements that indicated she was aware Robert Baker had left anything for her. Is that right?
I don't believe so.
You also mentioned briefly in your testimony that these kites can have some relation to gangs.
Yes, in my report, I actually had some ciphers that I personally found when I worked the jails.
Okay.
And talked to the inmates, and that's why I left. In my report, I actually put the way they actually use a master key.
Okay.
So at that time, I ordered jail deputies to go to both their locations and have their cells search for a master key.
Okay, but and my question is just that you are not aware of, based on your involvement in this case, being the bailiff of record on several court dates, you're not aware of any gang affiliation in this particular case. Is that
No.
right? I have nothing further, Your Honor.
Further by the people.
No, thank you.
Thank you, Detective Balderrama. You're excused.
People call Detective Christopher Gable.
So yeah, listening to the audio that I played, she clearly is so guilty on so many things. And she's whispering in the back of the police car. There's mics and they can hear everything. I think right then and there, the trial was done. And that was on day 2.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly state that the testimony you may give in the cause now pending before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Please have a seat in the witness stand. Adjust the microphone. And for the record, spell your first and last name, please.
Yes, my name is Chris Gable, and it's spelled C-H-R-I-S-G-A-B-L-E.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Are you currently employed?
No, I'm retired detective for LAPD.
Okay, and then what is your background with the LAPD?
In the LAPD, I spent a few years in patrol. Then I went to detectives. I worked robbery for a while, and I spent 15 years in homicide, 5 at Hollywood homicide, and 10 at robbery homicide.
So overall, how long were you a police officer?
26 years.
Okay. Now, back in the time frame of 2017, specifically March 7, 2017, were you assigned to the case that you're in court on right now?
Yes, I was.
Can you tell us how that came about?
Sure. Valley Bureau Homicide reached out to us to see if we would take over the case because they determined they didn't have the resources or the time to work on the case anymore because they thought it became a little bit more complicated than the time they had to put into it.
And currently, what was your assignment at that time?
I was assigned to Homicide Special at Robbery Homicide Division.
And we've heard a little bit about it, but can you just explain then, you said there wasn't enough time, but why would a case from the Valley then be transferred to the Homicide Division, Robbery Homicide downtown?
Sure. So the way I like to explain it to make sense is so LA City is huge, you know, it goes from the harbor to the valley. So what LAPD did to manage it is they break it up to 20 different areas or divisions. And in each division, they have detectives assigned to handle every single crime that happens in that division. And they're super busy. And so when they get a crime, especially a violent crime like a rape, a homicide, or robbery, that becomes too, it exceeds their time to work on it or the resources to work on it, then they reach out to us to see if we'll take the case. Robbery Homicide Division 2017 had about 100 detectives assigned, and all the detectives have specialized in either robbery, homicide, sex assault crimes, or surveillance. So we have the resources and the time to work on bigger and more complicated cases.
At the time then, who was your partner?
Detective 3, Barry Tellis.
When you're assigned then take over the case, is this a partner kind of relationship where two of you take over together as partners?
Yes, we worked side by side through the whole case.
Now, when did you first became involved on March 7th, 2017, is that correct?
Correct.
And was the current then detectives Parshall and Verna, does that ring a bell?
Correct, it was Parshall at the in our office. And they explained the case. We learned about Robert Baker and his DNA being found at the crime scene. We learned that he was a 296 registrant. He had about 10 years of military service. We learned that there was another suspect that went in the house with him that was still unidentified. We learned that there was a secret affair, love affair, or affair, I should say, between Monica Sementilli and Robert Baker. And that he was her racquetball coach. And they told us that they had set up and started surveillance on them. And at that point, they decided to withhold the information to Monica about the DNA, which we thought was a good avenue to take.
Why did you think that?
Well,
what was your next steps then when you came in based on the information that Parshall and Verna gave you as far as your strategy?
Sure. So Once we took the case, we said, yes, we'll take the case. We gave them some directives what we wanted. We told them we wanted to continue with the surveillance of Monica and Robert, and we wanted them to not tell them that the case was reassigned to us. We wanted them to maintain the impression that they were still working it as a burglary gone bad. And we did not want them to reveal the DNA results. We wanted them to continue to trickle it out, and that was at our direction when we wanted more to come out.
Why did you decide that?
Well, the plan was to, while they were doing that, at our end, we were gathering more information, social media, call detail records, all that kind of stuff. So we're writing search warrants and getting all that stuff, and we're trying to learn their, so we could learn the background better. And we did that so ultimately we would, ultimately at the end we would tell them that the DNA all came back and it was all negative, just before we arrested them.
And again, why would you tell them that? Well, why was that the plan?
Well, the plan was that for that exact operation was when we knew Monica was scheduled to go out of town to New York and I think Canada. And so the plan was to inform her then that the DNA finding all came back and none of it was relevant. It didn't lead to anything. And that the insurance would be released. We did that in hopes that we would get more of a digital trail of their communications to see how they responded to that.
At that time when you first came on the case, then were you aware about the defendant's requests to be cleared for the insurance money?
Yes, yes.
Did you ever personally have a conversation with her about insurance money or clearing her at any point?
I didn't have a conversation with her, but I was present when Detective Parcell had a conversation with her.
Okay. And that appeared from what you saw to be a concern of hers to be cleared in order to receive the insurance money?
It was a concern. Oh.
It's overruled.
Go ahead.
It was a concern.
Okay. Now, you said you wrote a lot of search warrants. What type of search warrants were you involved in? And you don't have to go through all of them, but what did you do as far as your work?
Well, I think I wrote about 34, 35. So basically, social media, the gamut of social media warrants, a lot of warrants, once we got their devices, to get into those devices and forensically analyze them. Encrypted app warrants for WhatsApp and Viber, warrants to go into the house and various houses the day of the arrest. Every warrant we did, yeah.
As of March 7th, when you came on, had some warrants already been done?
Yes, Valley Bear Homicide had already completed maybe about 7, which included call detail records and various things like that, which they gave to us. So we had a lot of information right at the start.
So were you able to review what had already been done as far as warrants and get up to speed on the case?
Yes, and that's what we spent the first few weeks doing, just going over their results and reviewing video that they had pulled, surveillance video and stuff like that.
So were you able then to review the videos, and I'll go through them, from the Target parking lot? Did you review those videos?
Yes.
Did you review the videos from the Rouse parking lot?
Yes.
And did you review videos from LA Fitness?
Yes.
Did you review the surveillance videos that show cars coming and leaving on January 23rd, 2017 from the Sementilli Street right there at Oakdale and Queen Victoria?
Yes.
Okay. Did you review interviews of people that had already been interviewed?
I'm sorry, say that
Did
again?
you review interviews of some individuals that had already been interviewed?
Yes.
Okay. And then you did your own interviews?
Not on all of them, but and some of the other detectives in our unit, since we have a lot of detectives to work with, did interviews as well.
Now, you knew at that point then that GND, the group in the Valley, had already been surveilling the defendant and Baker for quite some time, correct?
Yes.
And so you knew that they had spotted them out around town, February and into early March before you came on.
Correct.
You stated that you continued that surveillance. What
Yes.
unit did you use?
We used a unit that's organic to RHD called the Special Investigative Unit or section, which is SIS.
And what do they do?
They do clandestine surveillance for all the detectives at RHD. If we have a suspect or a possible suspect, we'll ask them to follow them, and they'll ask what our concerns are so that we can get what we're looking for. It could be as simple as trying to find out where they actually live. It could be finding other cars. It could be hopefully finding a suspect that we don't know who it is yet. And oftentimes they'll go out and get surreptitious DNA samples for us to match to existing evidence, things like that.
So right away then did you engage this additional unit, SIS, to continue the surveillance?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and then we'll hear from them later, but did you get feedback from SIS that they had spotted them out and about around town subsequent to you coming on the case?
Yes, they would periodically update us and on things that they had noticed. And also, it was not just all physical, it's mostly done by digital, through phone pings and through trackers on their cars.
And did you have trackers placed on their cars, or were they already there?
They replaced them. G&D had already put them on, and then we replaced them with ours.
Now, speaking of the trackers, did you have a tracker on the Ford F-150 owned by the Sementillis?
Yes.
Now, that Ford 150, at some point, did you determine that it had traveled to Las Vegas on March 23rd, 2017?
Yes.
What did you do to follow up on that trip?
That one, I believe, was at the Videra, and I believe on that one we reached out to a detective in Las Vegas, Mog, and he retrieved all the video surveillance from that hotel for us. And we also looked at her iCloud and Robert Baker's. I don't recall where we got the photos, but we also got photos from either Monica's iCloud or Baker's Dropbox that coincided with that trip.
You're going to have a CD of a video. Be marked as 165.
Very good.
So the CD, the video that you got from the Vidara, you spoke to someone in Las Vegas?
Yes, we spoke to Las Vegas Metro Detective Cliff, I think his first name, Mog, M-O-G-G.
I'm going to play this video for you. All right. And then what are we seeing in the video?
Sorry, is there a date on it?
There is.
Must be wrong.
There it is. The video is dated 3/23/2017. Is this the Vidara Hotel?
Yes.
Okay, 14:24. Is that the defendant walking up to the desk?
Yes, that's my
Oh, I have her. individual, were you able to see that? Join, we'll be back in a few minutes.
I think I missed that. Oh,
Yeah. There's an individual wearing what looks like possibly jeans, long leather jacket.
yeah, that's Rob.
Don't you say
Looks like
Rob?
from here.
Who's that?
Rob, yeah. Baker.
So is this then the check-in desk at the Vidara Hotel on 3/23/2017?
Yes.
Okay. And again, the defendant walking across from the lobby there at 14:34:09.
Yes.
What area is this right here at 14:34?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Elevator bank.
Yes.
And at 14:34:41 was that the defendant and Baker getting on the elevator?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Do you know what Baker is doing there, if you know at 14:35:36?
I only assume. I don't know for
Okay.
sure.
And that's obviously a compilation of videos that was put together showing different angles of the time frame when they checked in.
Yes.
Okay. Did you also receive from Cliff Mogg, the detective in Las Vegas, a invoice from the stay at the hotel,
Yes, we do.
as well as the user activity log for check-in?
That sounds familiar. Yes.
I may mark, it's 5 pages collectively, it's People's 166. It is an invoice in the name of Miss Monica Sementilli for the Vidara Hotel.
All right.
Okay, and then this, up on the screen here, one second. Is this the invoice then that you received? It's got the date of 3/26/17.
Yes, I don't see the name of the hotel. But,
Okay. Well, is that
that's
the,
it.
here it says Aria, which is part of the Vidara,
Oh,
correct?
yes.
They're connected.
Yes.
Okay. And then showing a total then in the name of Monica Sementilli with her address, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And then a total for this particular stay of $763.72.
Correct.
And that's on page 3. Page 4 and 5 then is just an activity log depicting her actual check-in to the hotel at 10:41 a.m., correct?
Yes.
Okay. And do you have a stipulation also? If that could be marked as People's 167,
Very good.
if I may read it.
Please.
It's stipulation regarding Vidara Hotel and Spa video and documents. Monica Sementilli and Robert Baker stayed at the Vidara Hotel and Spa in Las Vegas, Nevada from March 23 to March 26, 2017. Detective Clifford Mogg, M-O-G-G, from the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department obtained surveillance video, reservation records, and payment invoices from the Vidara Hotel and Spa related to Sementilli's and Baker's stay. Mogg mailed those items to LAPD Detective Tellis. The surveillance video that Mogg collected is contained in People's Exhibit 165. The documents that Mogg collected are contained in People's Exhibit 166. The parties agree each of the preceding records contains a true and correct record of an act, condition, or event of the business, and that the business's respective custodian of records or other qualified individuals would testify as to its identity and mode of its preparation. Further, that the records contained in each exhibit were made in the regular course of business at or near the time of the act, condition, or event, and that the sources of information and method and time of preparation were such as to indicate the records are trustworthy pursuant to evidence code section 1271. So stipulated? Yes. Thank you.
Received.
All right, thank you. Further into this investigation, we're at the Las Vegas time frame of March 23, 2017. This is shortly after you come on. Did you subsequently recover other evidence or view other evidence that indicated the defendant's trip to Las Vegas?
That particular trip or another one?
That particular trip.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Was there anything, did you ever see any photos that correlated, and we won't go through them, but photos that correlated with that trip?
So honestly, I can't recall if because they went to the Vidara twice, so I know we got photographs from Vidara. I just don't know if we got photographs from both Vidara trips off the top of my head.
So the other Vidara trip, you're talking about May 5th? Arrival May 3rd, 2017?
Yes.
This is one additional document. If I could mark it as People's 168.
What is the document, please?
And it is dated March 3rd, 2017, a record from the Vidara in the name of Monica Sementilli.
So, Mark.
Okay, so did you also receive this one for the dates of May 3rd, 2017 through May 5th, 2017?
Yes, we did.
And again, like the other document we saw, it's in the name of Monica Sementilli. However, this one has a total of $597.71. Is that correct?
Correct.
And it shows again room charges.
Yes. Yes.
And this was obtained also from Clifford Mogg?
I believe so.
Okay. Now, at this point, you said you had viewed some videos of the Target in question, the Ralph's in question, and some LA Fitness. Specifically about Target, did you go back to Target at some point to try to retrieve other videos?
Yes. Yes,
And can
we
you
did.
explain what you did and why?
Yes. After I looked at the video, I saw in a time where Monica's truck pulled in and someone got into her truck, and it was over near the Payless shoe store. So I wanted to go out there and pull video from those stores on that part of the parking lot to see if we could get a closer view to see who got into the car.
All right. Now I'm going to play that video for you. It's already been marked as People's 42. this video. I'm going to stop it right there.
Yes. Yes, I am.
And what is this view from? Have you been to this Target?
Yes, I am.
Okay. What's the angle that we're looking at?
So we're looking, let me orient myself, we're looking west, southwest, out onto Ventura Boulevard.
Okay, there's a red circle, and in a moment we'll see that a truck come into play that will be the defendants, but what is that street right there?
That's Ventura Boulevard.
Okay, and when that truck turns into the parking lot, are they turning into the parking lot of Target?
Yes.
Okay, so there's some icons already up there. Obviously, you didn't put those there, right?
No.
On the far right-hand side, there's a circle. Do you know what that indicates?
No.
Okay, and then there's a icon with Robert Baker's photo. What business is located right there?
Payless Shoes.
Now, is that the business that you had interest in obtaining video from in April, if it still existed?
Yes, that one and the adjacent ones next to it.
Okay, to your knowledge, had anyone ever tried to obtain video from those two locations within the Target parking lot?
No.
Okay, so now it's a month, actually, it's April, so it's a few months later.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to play the video. Have you seen this video since you've retired?
No.
Okay. So did that refresh your memory on
Yes.
the video then? Okay, I'm going to go back through it now. Having viewed that, does that look like a video you'd seen before as far as the path of travel when the defendant enters the parking lot?
Yes.
And when you viewed that video, when you took over the case, was there something that caught your attention? Again, you started to talk about it, why you went back to Payless or that area, the neighboring businesses, to retrieve some video.
Oh, real.
Yes. The fact that she had stopped and someone got in her vehicle and then drove off to the far end of that.
Objection, someone got in the vehicle, there's no foundation.
It's overruled. He's already testified of that.
And then drove off to the far end of the parking lot for about 3 or 4 minutes, and then came down to park it in the store. I wanted to find out if I could get video, a closer video, to see who got in the car.
Okay, I'm going to play the video again, and you indicated that you believe, or from your testimony, that someone got in the vehicle, which sparked you to go back and try to retrieve more video. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, if you could just indicate what you see and where to point out of why you went and did the subsequent actions. Is that okay?
Sure.
All right, I'm going to rewind it now that you've viewed it again. Yeah, there's a pointer right in front of you. If you can extend that and just kind of walk us through as you see it happening up on the screen behind you.
I'm going to object, there's no foundation, he did not create the video. Jury's just as easy to look at it as we are. I'm sorry, how did you create the circles or the pictures?
Since you made a speaking objection, I'll answer you from here. And Peoples was Gonzalez, Gonzalez at 12 Cal 5th, 367. Witness may properly describe a surveillance video. including to give general context as to the subject matter of what was depicted. Your objections overruled.
Okay. Is your pointer extended far enough? I don't think so. Just to be clear,
Yes.
I might have confused it. This video that I'm showing you is the date of the murder, January 23rd, 2017, correct?
Correct.
So I jumped ahead. I'm talking about why later in April, after you'd viewed this, you went back to try to retrieve more video based on this video from January 23rd, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And if you could walk us through then what you noted in this that made you do your subsequent actions.
Same objection, no foundation.
Rule.
So it's very hard to see because it's grainy, but you can see someone come across from the Payless. She'll stop the truck in a second. And you'll see an image right here. You just see it for a second because it's so grainy. And then it appears like the door opens, the door closes, and then she drives away. It's one of those videos when you enlarge it, it's really not any better when it's smaller because it's so grainy.
Okay.
You can actually see it sometimes even better at normal view, but yeah, it's faint. It's not super easy to see, but you can tell someone got in the car, and that's all you can tell. And that's why we wanted to get the video to see, what was going on there.
So then, back on this screen right here, just going back, because this is probably the best overview that I have. So, right there, you see a figure in the green circle. Is that the figure you're talking about walking?
Correct, and that started somewhere in here from the front of the Payless walking toward the parking lot street.
And that's at 329:53 on the camera. So that building right there is the Payless.
That is the Payless right
Okay.
there.
When you went back to that location then, and now we're talking about, let's jump ahead, you reviewed this video, and now in April, after you've taken over the case, you wanted to see if there was more video that existed from that back parking lot area.
Correct.
Okay, so what did you do then?
So we went to the Payless. We found out they had no exterior cameras. We went to the adjacent businesses that are along, just right here. There's two of them. And I think it was an eyeglass place, but they had really good cameras, but we missed it by 2 days. It was deleted. It auto deletes after different businesses set them at different times. Some 30 days, some 60 days, some 90 days. It just depends on how their settings are. So it auto deleted 2 days before we got there.
Did you try to retrieve any more videos from Target?
We did. We went in to see if they had interior video still, and that had already auto-deleted. I think there's auto-deletes in 30 days.
Okay. Now, did you also review Viber texts in this case?
Viber?
Yes.
Yes.
Did Viber texting factor into why you thought that was possibly Baker getting into her car?
Yes.
How so?
Well, about 10 seconds before, which would have put Monica's truck at the left-hand turn from Ventura Boulevard, she sent a text to Baker. And then about 10 seconds later, Baker gets in the car.
And then during the
I'm sorry, a person gets in the car.
Okay. And then during the duration of the video, when we're watching,
No foundation.
He corrected himself, counsel. He said a person got on the car.
so now during the duration of when the person gets in the car, so there's, you said 10 seconds before, a text from Monica to the defendant. And by the way, had there been Viber texts going back and forth, what would have been the time frame of her driving to this Target?
Yes, there was, from the time she left the house to Target, there was a text exchange midway through the drive, and then the last text just before she turned into the parking lot.
Once she turned into the parking lot and the person got in the car and you see her truck kind of move to the back of the parking lot, and then subsequently on other videos, did you see that truck then repark closer to Target?
Yes, Monica's truck stayed back there for about 4 minutes, and then she reparked down closer before she went into the store.
During that 4 minutes that she reparked after the person got into her car, was there any Viber text between the defendant and Baker?
No. The next Viber text, I believe, was when she reparked the vehicle before she went back into Target.
And that's when
or
the Viber
before
text...
she went into Target, yeah.
That's when the Viber text resumed between them?
Yes.
And then those Viber texts continued when she went into Target?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay.
They did.
On May 18th, 2017, then, did you go with Detectives Parshall and your partner, I believe, Detective Tellis, to the Sementilli residence?
Yes.
And why did you go there?
We went there under a ruse that we were the knock-knock burglar task force. There were burglaries in the area during that time, and there was a crew that was named Knock-Knock Burglar Task Force, or Knock-Knock Burglars. And they would typically knock on the front door if no one's home. They would go around back and then go in through a back door. And that was the premise of what actually OVB Homicide originally thought that was what it could have been. So we, as far as Monica was concerned, that theory never changed. So we went in there.
Sustained.
So that was the premise that we presented to Monica throughout the investigation, and so we went there to ask her some questions regarding her actions in the parking lot that day, and her other parking lots.
All right. And did you have any other objectives in place?
Two of the main objectives was I wanted to give her an opportunity to tell us who got in the car and what was that all about. And I wanted to find out if she had used her phone to view her surveillance, or just give her the opportunity to tell us what she did with the phone that day.
So you planned to ask her about that in the interview?
Yes, that was one of the objectives.
When you got to her house, as far as the family members at her house, do you recall who was there?
I believe it was, I think it was Jessica and someone else.
Okay. Were you able to speak to her then alone?
Yes, we spoke alone.
And when I say alone, were you with other detectives?
It was myself, Parshall, Verna, and Tellis.
Now there's 4 of you, and this is months after you've come on. You came on in March.
Mm-hmm.
This is now May. Up until this point, had you ever introduced yourself to the defendant or let her know that you were on the case?
No.
So this was the first time?
This was the first time, and it was under a ruse. It wasn't under the ruse of being Knock-Knock Burglar Task Force.
So you did not tell her that you were from Robbery Homicide?
No.
Okay. Did you do a walkthrough of the house with her?
Yes.
So what was the point of that?
We wanted to, it was the first time I was in the house, so we wanted to get a walkthrough and what Detective Parshall thought happened, and so he could explain the crime scene to us, and just to get eyes on and see for ourselves.
And you walked through all the different rooms where evidence had been collected?
Yes.
Things of that nature?
Yes.
At any point, did you tell her, or did the other detectives tell her about anything to do with DNA results?
It might have come up a little. Yeah, it did come up. Parshall was talking to Monica about life insurance, and also basically it came up in the phrase that it's taking time to get the results done.
So you did not tell her, or anyone in your presence tell her, that Baker's DNA had been established at the house at the crime scene the day of the murder?
No.
Okay. And I do have a interview. We won't complete it, but we can start it for the court. So 169, if I can mark the recording a DVD 169, and the accompanying transcript as 170. I have an interview with Monica Sementilli from May 18th, 2017.
Very well.
And may I hand out transcripts?
Happy to give me mine. And again, the same admonition applies. The transcript is not the evidence. It's to assist you in listening to the evidence, which is the DVD.
Thank you.
Sign there that says you're on camera? Yeah. Send it to Oh, so there it is. Jump up on This is it? That camera over there? See? Is that camera over there?
Is that Keith? That is not working?
Oh, okay. Yes.
Monica, this is Don and Alan. They're
Nice to meet you. Knock.
Hello. Hi.
Hi, Jessica. How you doing?
How are you?
Yeah, I want to show them. I want to kind of show them the experience. I mean, can you walk us around where we think these guys are doing? I want to show them that too. Is it open right now?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go around that, and then we can come back. And...
Close the front door.
So as we go through it,
Side yard here?
yeah, and these are both always unlocked, pretty much, right?
They actually are locked, but because of the wood standing and shrinking, you can pull it, but they're actually locked.
And at the time, and back in January, you can just come through.
Yeah, because it's just that lock is not there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it looks like you can just pull it.
yeah. So this is locked. Did we talk about these doors? Remember I asked you about the
Well, it
door?
wasn't open, just unlocked. Because usually they're kind of
When
locked.
I said no pull it, and you came through, your door was open.
Oh, it was
And
actually
these doors
split
were
open.
split open, big enough for someone to get through. And then the blinds were your, what are they called?
Plantation.
Right there was just, that's why we were talking about, you know, if they locks those, you keep them unlocked, and you're telling how you guys, you probably go out there and smoke or hang out when the girls are on the other patio. So yeah, I wanted to show them just kind of the route. So they came through here. And this gate is not locked.
This one's not locked. No.
How far back do we have here?
To the end, to the front, to the middle.
This another one, not the same as yours.
No, that's a, call that water.
A wash?
Yeah.
Oh, for drainage, for
Yeah.
rain stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, initially we were stopping, you guys were coming over here. Right.
Well, I saw this broken, but I think you told me that
I
maybe
think
they
one of the
may
options,
have done that.
stepped off and look over or
Yeah.
something is what I'm hearing.
I don't know if this is open now, because now I keep everything locked, but if you want, I can go in, yeah, I have to go unlock it if you want us to go in this
And
way.
where does it go to?
This is my bedroom.
Okay, so at the time, where do you think that they came into the house? Or? Well,
I
I don't
don't
think she
know.
was talking about until we
Yeah,
had discussed these doors, I don't think I ever told her this is where we're talking about. But in the least, almost the time?
Well, most of the time we are unlocked, but now, of course, everything locked.
What's the usual pattern? Usual pattern is it's always locked.
The usual pattern
At
is
that
unlocked, because
Oh.
he would come out here sometimes to, I mean, all this furniture was here, like he sometimes smokes his cigars here.
Oh, I see, okay.
Oh.
So it wouldn't be unusual for this to be unlocked?
No.
Closed but unlocked?
Closed, yes,
Because that
closed,
in
but
January was cold weather.
not unlocked, but closed for sure.
Okay.
Closed but not
Never
locked.
open, no.
Closed but not locked. Yeah.
And
Do that at my
especially
house.
in January, it was cold, it was raining a little bit that day.
Yeah, and that's why sometimes he would be under here.
Right.
Got it. Okay.
Well, is there any other places here where you think they could have put it to?
Well, these are unlocked as well. This is actually the spare room, but my husband was a snorer, and sometimes he slept here. So sometimes this is unlocked, and that's Isabella's room. Hers, I would think, would be normally locked because she never really comes up that way. I don't think that would ever be open, but I don't know.
So this is your bedroom? This is your bedroom?
Yes.
Spare bedroom?
Yeah.
And
Isabella,
your,
my daughter.
is that your daughter?
My
Your
daughter.
All right.
And this is a spare bedroom, but Fabio, you said this.
He was sleeping there, yes, let's say 4 nights out of 7 from his.
I think you can remember.
Oh, sure. Oh, sure.
Yeah.
I think I remember.
Mhm.
You guys could part about mentioning that.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
You guys want to come
on.
to the patio?
Yep.
This is Isabella's bedroom.
These windows, don't even look like they open.
No,
Or do they crank
we
that?
never open these.
Okay.
Never, because we don't have screens, so we keep them closed. And this is the back.
Oh, beautiful.
Nice backyard.
This one is always up only because, unless we're having a party, this never opens. It always goes through the kitchen door one. But
And then service to anything.
I don't know. They would know. I don't remember.
Okay. All right. Let's go then to the kitchen.
This is the door we always use.
Always leave those. So would this typically be open?
Yes. Not at
Oh,
night.
okay.
Yeah, I'm locked during the day, and at night we were closing the cat door down.
Okay, those are Oh, you guys would actually put that down at night?
At night.
But during the day, cats can come and go?
Yes, come and go. I mean, we haven't opened it since because there was raccoons, but other than that, all that would be open during the day.
Okay. And the incident happened out there? Yeah, I don't think you guys ever saw the photo. We didn't see the photo. So going over, I know we talked about this already. I know he basically faced down and was in this chair here.
He was off of that
Right.
chair.
Right. And the chair was turned this way and he was face down here. I don't remember from the photos, was there another chair here? Where was he that day? You guys were both home and he was working in the kitchen. Laptop was on the counter, but he was coming in and out. And I know the TV is on when the officer got here. So he would come in and out and be out here on the patio. The TV's right here. Oh, okay. And if I remember, I think he had started a fire. It looked like he started a fire in a little pit.
Yeah, the fire was on.
A fire pit? Yeah, the fire pit was on. This is it?
No, it's in the back, it's inside the.
That's small. So that was, he had started, and he was on when he's during the evening, he's working. That's another thing I wanted to ask you about. You touched on this a little bit. I just wanted to make sure on the work schedule, his work schedule. Was it unusual for him to be home?
No, sometimes because he travels so much, sometimes he could just work from home within a day or two or whatever. But I know he had the Friday off too.
Okay.
Was it a long weekend? I don't remember, but I know that he stayed home that Monday. Yeah, he stayed home on Monday too.
Would he normally stay home on Mondays?
No. Depends on, like I said, travel, everyone is
So how many days a week do you think he would usually be at the office rather than home? How many days a week do you think he works from home?
No, very rare. It's mostly at the office. He'd be away traveling a lot, and sometimes he'd just say, I'm playing cookie today, I'm going to work from home.
Okay. And he would call into the boss, check in, telecommute, whatever.
Yeah, I'm home.
Huh?
He is the boss.
He is the boss. Okay, so he would just let him know. I know that day he would check in with somebody. Hey, I'm just checking in, he left a voicemail. Or something. Yeah, so someone at work. Right around this time of this security, he had called. Hey, I'm just checking in. I'm on the house phone. And
was it from Sal? Was it from work?
I think it was Sal.
That's his
I
boss.
believe it was Sal. Okay, so
Yeah,
yeah, it was his.
He's a president.
Okay, because he's like, I talked to him like it's his boss. I think it was Sal. Hey, Sal, just checking in. I'm on the house phone.
Yeah.
I'm home today. So it was more common for him to go in the office than to take the day off.
Yes.
And he didn't have a routine where every Monday he was home.
No,
And the rest of
it was just sporadic whenever he felt like it. And we wouldn't even know until we heard him on the phone on conference calls all day, sitting here.
Yeah, and that's one of the things is these guys are really going to get into it. Patterns, some of these guys that they're looking at, there's a bunch of different crews they're working with. Some of these guys watch people's movements. Some of them use, phone calls in to check on people's whereabouts. And they'll touch on that more. That's one of the reasons trying to find out about this routine.
Okay.
One of the things I'm going to ask about is security stuff. I noticed some cameras coming in. Is there any cameras back here?
No, on the side, back there.
Okay.
Yeah.
This one is come back out. No camera?
No cameras back here. No.
And it's completely surrounded by that gate down at the bottom.
Yes, and then it goes to. Yeah, they replaced. No, well, I just moved it.
Oh, it was over here.
Yeah.
And this was here, right?
You have not be around, or?
Yeah, they got to do is just us right now. Thank you.
Sure.
Nothing super secret. I wanted to point out to them where they got it, what they got into, and where they got into. I know that show them where you were keeping the cash.
Oh, this one. And now it's all cleaned up.
We did see the photo. He did show us photos of the ransacking and stuff, and that's important to us. So if you could show us.
This is where the money was here.
Was there anything on top of it?
Oh, this was, I mean, there was all kind of junk and stuff in here, but this was an envelope, a white envelope.
Oh, was it a white envelope?
With different currencies. I just don't know the amount of each one, but this is where we kept. I don't know why we didn't keep it in the safe, but we keep it over
So
here.
from what I understand, the currency, I think it was euros,
Canadian,
and
and
okay.
Oh, you guys have a safe?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's in this closet. I don't even know. Did they go in there? Because I don't think did that.
Nothing, no pry marks, nothing?
No.
Ransacking in
I
there?
know that
No.
door was all black, but I don't know what they took from there.
Yeah, no, I sent the list that you provided me, I sent that on to them with the euros, so they would keep an eye out for that stuff.
Yeah.
And popping up. But yeah, let me show you guys. So I have here.
The lights in there.
Was all this gone through?
Yeah,
Or was it
this
just
was
this
all.
one?
I think when I came in, it was a disaster. So I don't
Gene,
know.
was this whole all this ransacked?
It looked, if I remember right, only this drawer was open, but you thought that maybe cash could have been kept in here and taken as well?
Could be some because these were all a mess and everything was, all over the place. So I think, if this is my makeup, then nothing was missing from here.
The only drawer that was open was this one.
Were the drawers taken out and dumped, or were they just?
I don't remember some drawers.
Yeah, these were somewhere else.
Okay, so these would be just open.
Yeah.
And are they normally neat like this?
No.
The drawers?
I just redid everything.
Okay.
that they
And then the envelopes, were they like standing up?
standing up here.
Was it one envelope or was it?
It was maybe 2 or 3, but in between the currencies was a flat white envelope in between.
Oh, I see. So it was currency, a flat white envelope, currency. So the currency was in plain view if you opened it. You could see the currency.
Most of it, and then there was an envelope with actual money, and I just.
You can just leave your transcripts on your seat. The evidence applies. Not to discuss this case either among yourselves or with anyone else, or form or express an opinion until the cause is finally submitted to you. Have a good lunch. I'll see you at 1:30.
All right, I am back. Oh my goodness. There is a lot of chat messages. So, okay, let me get through this. Jeffrey, in this trial, meaning the Monica trial, I'm assuming so, but just wanted to double check. Monica has 2 daughters and a stepson. I just got to the bottom and saw we have a lot of questions. Well, good timing. I'm here. And I was starting to already go through and answer. Let me see which ones I missed. You want to know how many girls versus guys. I am not sure that anyone has actually said what that is, but I'll look anyway. Yeah, they have not put out stats for the jury, so I cannot answer that yet. What else is there? So you saying the jury is missing family time and work? 100% they are, and this is a very, very long trial. I don't think that they are sequestered though. So if they're not, that probably helps a little bit. So the jury, they've been on a lunch break for 57 minutes, which means they might be pretty close to coming back. Yeah, so right now, I mean, it's business days, right? This is technically, though, the third week. And I could see it going for a couple more weeks. I'm hoping that next Friday they will rest. But there's just so many people that have to come up and testify. And this is all just the state doing it. Defense has to call their people and go through their stuff. So it really is a long trial. At least this one's interesting, though. Like, some of them get really boring and same old stuff and not enjoying it. But I have been enjoying Monica's. I feel like there's a lot going on. And it's nice to be able to piece the puzzle together. All right. All right, so while they're on their big break, I'm going to go ahead and switch back to the rose petal murder for the part 2, and it actually should be basically done. So we'll get to skip over all those long breaks and just get all the content that we wanted. And then we'll come back to Monica's for a part 2.